Okay, yeah, I heard shoveling in the basement. It was Jay and my dad. I'm like, what the hell is that? There's somebody in the basement. I was convinced. Dad's like, we went down there, and it was like, no, there's nobody down there, and all this stuff. And it was come to find out that there's
the coal chute.
I'm gonna cut there. Come to find out there's a coal chute right where I was hearing the sound from in the basement. We went down there and it stopped. But that was enough for me.
Have you ever heard it, Rob?
Coal chute?
Shoveling in the basement at 2008?
Shoveling.
Mm-hmm. Like
scraping against the concrete.
Yeah, I mean it was a distinct
like shoveling coal.
It was a distinct shoveling sound. So anyways,
really?
That's my story.
I did have experience where I went to the top of the stairs and I heard something in the basement and I go, who's down there? And I heard a little chink. Somebody pulled that little pole chain to turn on the light. Light came on and I go down there and I'm looking around. I searched the place high and low and nobody was in the basement. But somebody pulled that light. And
that's scary.
You know, while we're on the subject, how about the spinning bar stools, or is that more of a Mike story?
Yeah, we were upstairs late one night and we heard something. We all put our ears to the floor and we could hear this bar stool spinning, squeaking.
They were loud.
We knew the sound of that bar stool. So we went down there and there was no one there.
You guys would spin the bar stools. That's how you knew the sound.
Yeah,
right?
it made a weird little sound with the bar stools.
Real heavy ones. Real heavy bar stools, and you could spin them around like that. Real heavy.
Okay, and Dad's story is the scariest of all.
All right, hold on a second. I'm trying to get everything. I'm trying to choose the best shots here.
When Roy was little, he would talk about the devil, D-E-B-I-L.
The devil.
The devil.
Bill Collins.
Yes.
I woke one morning, it was in the spring, and I could smell the roses from the rose bush outside. The window was up about 5 or 6 inches there to let some air in. And all at once I felt my whole body being tugged toward the side of the bed, just an inch at a time, another inch, then another inch. And I thought, what is going on? And I looked around me, I said, now this isn't a dream, because I could see what's going on here. And I got to the edge of the bed, and I took the big king-size pillow and threw it out onto the floor, because I knew I was going to tumble out of the bed. I didn't want to hit the wooden floor on the rebound. So I got out of there, and I kept moving. The pillow and I both moved toward the closet that was off to the left side of the bed. And I pulled there a little farther and a little farther until I went off into that pillow. And I got back up, and I thought, nobody's going to believe this because they'll think it's a dream. But it was not a dream. It was not a dream. I almost pinched myself to show that I was still awake. And I got up and it went away, and nothing like that ever happened to me again there at 208 South 5th. But it did happen that time. I'll go to my grave on a stack of Bibles betting that it did happen. Absolutely.
I know it did. You've talked about it for years.
I never changed the story.
I know. I know.
In that big pillow and towards... That's when I got scared. Because I remembered sometime about some people went in to get their husband out of bed for the morning, and there was a big hole in the ceiling, and he never was seen again. On a story that's supposed to have happened to him. I don't know about that. I'm not...
It would not have been good to have a hole in the closet floor and have you vanish through it.
Or a crack in the ceiling and you're gone. A lot of scary things can happen.
And I remember I came...
Again, go ahead.
This was not... You don't have to record this. This was...
In that house in 21?
Yeah, Lindsay swore she woke up in the middle of the night. She was sleeping on the living room floor, and she looked out in that room where we had the bunk beds out in the front and saw a face of an Indian floating in like a glowing cloud.
Ew.
Like an Indian maiden.
Wow.
Cletus Sue used to come back to that same thing about an Indian being in her line of sight when she woke up and looked out.
Well,
someplace.
it could have been.
Seriously?
I mean, it wasn't that far from the river, and there were probably, centuries. Well, it makes sense because that house isn't that far from the river, and there were probably Native Americans living in villages and things. The Wee tribe, I think, is from around here, spelled W-E-A, and our ancestors are part of that tribe.
Really?
Perhaps it was a long-lost ancestor peeking in on us. Because Mom's mom was a full-blooded Native American.
Did you do some genealogy or something?
No, but Mom always said that. It is yet to be proven.
Your mom always felt she had a percentage Indian blood in her.
Yeah, and well, it makes sense because her grandmother had a very distinctive look like Native American women have, and that was her mother who was like full-blooded. And I don't know if the mother was married to another Native American or somebody else, or it would be interesting to see. Probably wouldn't be too hard to find.
There's
records.
some dark skin that pops up. Some people
Yeah.
are just like are naturally dark.
In our family and real dark hair, and Jay is kind of got real dark hair and dark
In
skin.
the summer, I take it easily.
Do you?
He's real brown in the summer.
Oh, that's a cool.
Mike didn't know who his grandpa's brother was, Dick Goldhart, you know.
Oh, was that his brother?
That was his brother.
I didn't know.
Talking about Indians.
Record that.
The
Wait,
lot-
let him record
the
that.
Fakar
That's some good stuff.
On the little guy.
Please, let him record it.
They'd climb up on the hill and look out and yell, "Where the fuck are we?"
The car we drive.
That might be the tribe we're from. The Fakarwis.
Fakarwis were native to the Midwest.
Yes. Settlers of Terre
Where's the
Haute.
Fakar? Now, the funny old Lyle came up with that joke, and he was part Indian, Don Lyle.
Uh-huh.
We always called him the Indian. That was his
The
nickname,
car we drive.
the Indian. Don Lyle. He called me, see what was going on, you know, and about a week and a half later, he died of a heart attack.
Aw.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
That is.
I know that's the only time he called me one time. But
It's nice. He checked in on you,
Yeah.
and
Then he died.
Yeah.
crazy stuff.
Yeah.
On the ghost tip there.
In 35 and 40 foot.
Okay, so I know this isn't a ghost story. But there seemed to be, well, maybe it is a ghost story, a ghostly type peeping Tom.
Ooh, at
that
the
was
window.
at the window that you guys noticed, and then if you need to act anything out, I totally understand.
Well, Mike and I were watching, I think Star Trek. We were sitting in the living room at 2008, and I was on the couch, and there's a window right behind me, and I'm sitting there, and I hear a little tap, just a gently tapping at the window, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what the heck? You know, and I just kind of like casually look over my shoulder, and I see that there's a guy outside the window looking at us. So I talked to Mike in just real casual voice. I'm like, hey, Mike, there's a guy outside the window. He goes, oh, yeah? I say, I'm going to go towards the kitchen and towards the back door, and you kind of casually go towards the front door. So I go out to the kitchen, and then I dart out there as fast as I can. I come running around, and there's the guy at the window. Oh, just Mike's running out the front door, and the guy starts running, so I start chasing him, and he was fast, man. He fell down and got back up quicker than I could run. He was fast, and then he ran through what we called Witchy Woman's yard, which was all overgrown, and I was scared because I was afraid I couldn't see where he was, and he got away from me. But
Wasn't he? He was wearing hospital scrubs. Is that correct, or did I hear that incorrectly?
yeah, he had on like a white running suit or something.
Oh, okay, and then he tripped over. Was it a hedge bush? Is that what he tripped on or something?
Yeah, that's what happened. Tripped on a hedge. I was going to grab him, but I couldn't even get close. He was so fast.
Wasn't there another time where you were in the bathroom, either you or Mike, and there was a peeping Tom looking through the bathroom window?
Well, there was one time we found a chair out there where somebody was watching.
Sometimes you stack a chair on top of a chair.
On for a while.
People don't have enough to do in town. They gotta go peep in people's windows.